Thank you guys for tuning into the first Jock Talk episode of the new year. Matt, along with Brock again. Brock, how we doing
We're
on this
doing
first day of 2017?
doing real good. Real good. Getting ready for the Packer game.
That's right. You know, we got the Snapchat earlier. Brock was asking if he should shave or not, but if Brock shaved and the Packers happen to miss out on the playoffs, it'd be all on him. So
No.
keep it for at least another day.
At least.
Right.
Then I'd have to shave and get the playoff beard going again.
There we go. Pretty good show today. Obviously, we're going to recap the day in the NFL. Take a look at what we're looking at for the Packers. Looking forward to the playoff run, hopefully. And we also have our year in review for basically all of sports. We got each of our top 5 moments. We got our MVP of all of sports, and we have top play and the best team as well. So why don't we go ahead and start with some of that? What do you think?
Oh, how about we do our new segment first?
That's right.
The new Wisconsin trivia, Wisconsin sports trivia.
Presented by Miller Lite.
Not really, but close enough, I guess. All right, Matt. This question's for you and all of our fans. It's multiple choice questions. Start off maybe a little easier.
I got this.
Question 1. It is in the Iron Man era of the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers were founded in the editorial room of the Green Bay Press-Gazette. The meeting was called by Curly Lambeau and George Calhoun. In what year was this great American franchise formed? Is it A, 1909, B, 1919, C, 1920, D, 1921?
You know, before you even finish that question, I had a year written down. I'm going D, 1921. Final answer.
Well, we will wait till the end of the show to give you that answer. Until then, we will continue into our NFL recap and so forth. Crazy games so far.
Yeah. Looking so far at the games that have been played, the Packers, they have a clear path to the playoffs. 1, they win and they're in. 2, Washington loses and they're in as well. Washington, last time I saw, was losing 10-0 to the Giants. The Giants were still playing most of their starters. It was sometime in the third quarter, but other than that, when we look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, basically everything they needed to happen for them to have a slim shot at the playoffs has happened so far. But like I said, the Packers have a clear path to the playoffs, and they take care of business in Detroit, and they're in.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice for Washington to lose, but I'd rather have the division. The division is a little more important to me. I'm sure exactly we get a home game in the playoffs, and in January in Green Bay is always a challenge for anybody to come in there and try to steal a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Stafford playing, will he playing, I should say, at less than 100%, which probably 90% of the league is at this point. Him probably a little bit more so. I think, was it broken or dislocated middle finger, I think it was for him. Hopefully, I know I made the prediction earlier, jumping ahead a little bit, but 31-17, Packers force at least 2 turnovers and play a relatively clean game. By that I mean penalties maybe get the best of them a little bit, but I think they play turnover-free football today.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing that we can hope for. I think over the last 5 games, we're at plus 13 in the turnover ratio. So I think that stays going definitely, I think, because you said it, Stafford does have that injury to his throwing hand, and he was wearing a special-made glove for him. And we saw last week from Stafford, he made some errant throws, which he probably would have made if 100% healthy, I mean, I think our corners are making plays. The last couple of weeks, we gave up big yards last week to Thielen, but I think they'll right the ship and play pretty good defense all the way around. I think our pressure will get to Stafford. That's all we need. We don't need the sacks necessarily because of the injury. Just get him uncomfortable, make him try to step up or roll out in the pocket and make harder throws to hopefully well-covered receivers.
Yeah, you mentioned injuries. I mean, lack thereof is what I was going to bring up. Clay Matthews last week played probably as well as he's been playing all season. He's been dealing with a nagging injury a lot this season, but he looks like he's the Clay Matthews that we're used to. On the Lions side, their running back he was just put on the IR. Theo Riddick was, so he's out for today's game. They're already missing Amir Abdullah from earlier in the season, so Zach Zenner is going to be the Packers' number one running target to stop. Obviously, I know the Lions are banged up on the defensive side of the ball as well. Darius Slay is questionable. He's probably going to play. Would be a big loss if he didn't play. He's been playing really, really well so far for the Lions this year. But on the offensive side of the ball, let me ask you this: Who are you afraid of? Who's going to have that big game that we know the Packers are vulnerable to give up? Would it be Marvin Jones Jr., Golden Tate, or are you thinking tight end Eric Ebron?
I'm going with Golden Tate because his route running is so precise. He makes plays that a lot of wide receivers can't make. He's a smaller receiver, but he makes a lot of very tough catches. He'll go over the middle. He'll do everything that you need him to do as a wide receiver. And we've seen him when he played in Seattle, and he always tore us up. Every time we played Golden Tate, he would always have 6-7 catches for 100-some yards and a touchdown. I think last time we played him, he didn't have one of the greater or better games because he didn't have to. I think it's just like when we played the Vikings the first time. Stephon Diggs had a huge game. We locked him up in the second game, but Thielen had a good game. So I think this time it will be Golden Tate. I hope he doesn't put up a lot of numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a pretty good game.
Yeah, I agree. I think depending on, I know Nick Perry, I believe he was questionable to play. I think he's going to be a big factor in this game. I think the outside linebackers in general, I know the Packers' defensive backfield has been much maligned this season. They take a lot of the blame for some of the Packers' shortcomings, and rightfully so. I think the defensive backs have a good game. I am worried about the linebackers on Eric Ebron. This year, not so much, but big athletic tight ends have troubled the Packers. You look at the Titans, Delaney Walker had a big game against the Packers. But I think that tight end position and just limiting him, short tackling is going to be a big thing for the linebackers today.
Yeah, definitely. Our defense has been a better tackling defense overall this year from years past. But I think it will still come down to limiting the big plays on defense. I think that's one thing we've given up a lot this year. And in a few games past, even with the lead, we give up a big play and just play a little bit lax and just let one over the top. We can't have that today, especially with the playoffs on the line and the division on the line.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's clear, it's simple. It's the Packers win, they take care of business, and they're in. I know we mentioned in past weeks the beard is doing us wonders. We haven't mentioned it on air, but the Carlos moment of the week. I mentioned in past weeks. He's been going off about 6 weeks ago now. The Packers should just lose the rest of their games to get a higher draft pick. Talking earlier today, he's like, ever since I started talking bad about the Packers, they've been on this winning streak.
Hey,
So,
the big Carlos.
that's right. There was the one other thing that I saw probably about an hour and a half ago. Um, Ted Thompson is going to come out with an important announcement. ESPN's Packers reporter has been reporting that his announcement is going to be that he is going to resign effective at the end of the season.
Oh, wow.
Also, that Edgar Bennett, the offensive coordinator for the Packers, is going to receive some head coaching interviews, which, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
One of the best offenses in the NFL for the past couple of seasons, and he's been the offensive coordinator of it all. So I know prior to the Packers winning streak, Mike McCarthy was under a lot of heat, which he should be. The Packers should not have had to rely or wait till the last game of the season to shore up a wild card spot. So if the Packers miss the playoffs or have a short run in the playoffs, I still think Mike McCarthy, there's a
short lease.
A 40-60%, 40 he goes, 60 he stays percentage out there for him. And I think Ted Thompson, whether he's let go or he resigns, it's been a good run. We've had our ups and our downs with him as fans, but one Super Bowl with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, a lot of Packers fans, including myself, would tell you that's not good enough.
Yeah, especially with the year after our Super Bowl, went 15-1 early exit. We being 15-1, we expected everything, just to go to the playoffs, run through the playoffs, and then run through the Super Bowl again. And it didn't play out that way. I mean, we made some bad plays, but I mean, yeah, overall, like, good seasons, a very good winning record, winning percentage, all that. But I know we, as fans, hold the Packers to quite a high standard.
Absolutely.
And expect nothing but deep runs in the playoffs and championships.
Yep. Absolutely. I would say, I would argue, and even though they didn't win the Super Bowl that year, but probably the best team that year. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of best teams, we have our 2016 year in review. Good transition. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
don't see
anything.
anybody.
Go first, Brock?
What do you want to do first? You want to do best moments, best team? You want best team?
Let's go best moments.
Best moments.
I'll go. You go one, and I'll go one. And we'll go that. We each have 5.
Okay, I'll start at number 5. Number 5, I have David Ortiz's final season being one of his best seasons, one of the most memorable seasons from a 40-plus-year-old, putting up a .315 batting average, 38 home runs, and 127 RBIs in his farewell campaign. I feel like he could not have wrote that a better way unless he won the World Series, but
a short playoff exit is. Yeah.
But he cannot, with his resume and his 10 All-Star games, all his accolades. He has had one of the best careers, like full careers, that I know you and me have watched him for probably as long as he's been in baseball. It's like
as long as he's been with the Red Sox.
Yeah, exactly. And he stayed true to his team, and he's been a leader for not just the Red Sox, but the whole Boston community and everybody. Even like you saw him go through all these stadiums and throughout his.
He got the Derek Jeter treatment.
He did. He is the Derek Jeter of the Red Sox, and it's sad to see him go because Red Sox are like my number 1-2 baseball team right there, and it's going to be sad to see him go. But I mean, he gave everything he gave to. He gave everything he had to the game, and I have all the respect for him in the world, especially playing through like that performance enhancing drug era and not being caught up in all of it and staying true to him and his family and all that stuff. He's one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah. I didn't have mine in any specific order, but you mentioned David Ortiz retiring. I kind of took a cheap way out. My number 5, let's say, moment from 2016 is all of the retirements. When you look at baseball with David Ortiz, look at football and basketball, we lost. They retired. They're not dead. Kobe, I mean, he put up 60 in his final game. You look at KG, one of the best big men of all time, retired.
Yeah.
You look at Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson in the NFL.
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch.
Calvin Johnson.
Arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and arguably one of the best defensive backs of all time with Peyton and Seawood. So
yeah,
retirements was a big one, a big theme in terms of 2016. So that would be my number 5.
Yeah, you can name a bunch of retirees that are all-stars, like we said. Marshawn, Calvin Johnson. You had Timmy D. Just players that changed the game forever.
David Ross.
Players that changed the game forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Papa Rossi.
Yep. Let's go.
My number 4. My number 4. I mean, you just touched on a little bit. It was Kobe's 60 in his final game. Like, everyone knew it was coming. Everyone knew that Kobe was going to shoot the ball almost every time he touched the ball, and they could do nothing about it. He put up 60. And it wasn't just a 60 in a loss or 60, just 60. He's 60 in a comeback win. He hit the game winner. It's probably one of his favorite moments outside of his rings as a Laker. Yeah. As a Laker.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I mean, you got to respect everything that Kobe has done for the game of the NBA and how many people play like him now, too, which is also a testament to Michael Jordan. So I think his era will be forever lasting in the NBA. And again, nothing but respect for Kobe Bryant, what he did for the game also.
Yeah. My number 4, excuse me. My number 4, let's stick with basketball. The NBA Finals. You mentioned LeBron, or you mentioned Kobe, you mentioned MJ. Let's talk about the real GOAT. Not quite yet, but LeBron James, chase down block on Andre Iguodala, Kyrie Irving, clutch 3-pointer. Draymond Green getting suspended for, was it Game 5?
I believe so.
Just a great series, one of the better finals that I can remember, maybe outside of the other LeBron title with the late Ray Allen 3, but LeBron James leading his team, leading both teams, that is, in points, assists, rebounds, blocks. You can't get a much better performance from that out of the best player in the world. And for those who argue that he's not the best player in the world, I mean, just look at the stats. Go back to the finals. Some people argue KD. Some people argue Steph Curry.
They're on the same team.
It's LeBron James. My number 4 moment, NBA Finals.
I'm really surprised that you have that at 4. It is kind of high because that finals was a great finals, one for the ages. Oh, sorry.
Just wait.
All right. My number 3 pick for top 5 moments is the college basketball final, Nova versus North Carolina. That was probably one of the best championship games, not just championship games of the 2016 season. North Carolina with the comeback, trading threes, big stops, double clutch 3 from Marcus Page from way downtown. And then Nova, Jenkins just comes down and daggers a 3 as time expires. Like, everyone that watches knows, I live in North Carolina. I was watching that game live in North Carolina. The silence from the North Carolina fans, you could have heard a pin drop when they hit that three. Everyone thought that it wasn't good, but everybody knew that it was good. They're like,
say this: you're not a bandwagon North Carolina fan. You've been a UNC fan even back when you were still in the Tundra State.
Yep, Danny Green, Tyler Hansborough, Wayne Ellington, Ty Lawson, all those old cats. Sean May, yikes. Yep. I've always been a North Carolina fan, and watching that collapse / great shot from Nova, one of the best games by far, I believe, this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I agree. I have the NCAA title game as my number 3 moment as well. I mean, you basically hit on everything. I mean, one of the best championship games of the last 10, 15 years.
Definitely.
I would say. Big shot and the biggest shot you can make in the biggest stage of them all. So,
I mean, I agree. If you think back, probably the next best game was the Butler Duke when Gordon Hayward.
Tyler Fink missed the half-court shot.
Oh my God! I thought that sank. I think everybody thought it was in, and he was off by. I think Sports Science did it. They like a half an inch. He missed. So it's crazy.
All right, Brock, number 2.
Number 2, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers winning the finals in dramatic fashion, like you touched on. 3-1. Warriors had a 3-1 lead, comeback. Everything against Cleveland. Everyone was writing them off. Everyone thought LeBron couldn't do it, and then LeBron carries the team. Kyrie hits the big shot. Kevin Love with the big stop. Cleveland ends their championship drought of 50-plus years.
Yeah. I mean, one streak ended. I have a feeling we're going to disagree, maybe not disagree, but we have a different top 2, or at least top 1. But my number 2... I'm not a big soccer person. I think it's glorified track and field. You have to have stamina to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking a ball, I probably couldn't do it, but it is what it is. Leicester City of the Premier League, 5,000 to 1 odds to win the Premier League. That's the same odds that you would get for finding Elvis alive, or for saying that Barack Obama, one of the greatest presidents in the last 150 years, thanks Obama, the same odds that you would get for him playing on the English cricket team. So 5,000 to 1 odds for comparison's sake. The Cleveland Browns were, I believe, 200 to 1 odds to win the Super Bowl last year. 50 times as 50 times as unlikely for that to happen. So Leicester City, shout out soccer, shout out England, is my number 2 moment in all of 2016 in the sporting world.
Yeah, I definitely looked at that one as one of my top 5, but I just didn't put it in because we don't talk about soccer. But kudos to you for doing it.
Yep, I have a feeling I know what your number 1 is going to be.
And I think we agree.
I don't know that we do.
The Cubs breaking the curse.
The Cubs are an honorable mention on my list.
What is wrong with you? Everybody is.
You're forgetting one big thing, Brock. One big thing.
The Cubs broke a 108-year curse as champions. The Cubs broke everything that's human. Nobody was really there. Nobody was there since their last championship. Barely anybody was there since their last World Series appearance. They came back from a 3-1 deficit
They did. They did.
They overcame a comeback from Cleveland. They overcame the rain delay. And everything. That young team is just becoming a bunch of stars. And we're going to see that team for another 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
and
at least.
It's going to be impressive to watch that team, especially next year.
You know, there's the one reason I didn't have them at number one, and to myself I was thinking, either I have them at number one or I make them an honorable mention. So I knew that you were going to bring them up. You're missing one big thing that happened in 2016. I know the Cubs haven't won in 108 years, and I know this happens every 4 years. But you have the Summer Olympics in Rio. Between Michael Phelps absolutely dominating the U.S. women's gymnastics with Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, Allie Raisman, and the other two who nobody knows their names. Katie Ledecky absolutely dominating, shattering Olympic records, and then the man himself, Usain Bolt, who some often refer to as the Michael Phelps of land. So the Olympics, they were a great Olympics. The United States took home first place in gold once again.
No surprise.
USA. But yeah, the Olympics, my number one sporting moment. I mean, there was all the controversy before the games about the dirty, tainted water. The men's basketball team taking home gold again, even with missing a bevy of NBA stars, including LeBron. But the Olympics were my number one sporting moment, 2016.
That was definitely in my top 10. If we did a top 10, that was probably at 6. Just
do you have it? I have a couple of other honorable mentions.
As do I. I do have.
What do you have that didn't make your top 5?
As much as we can agree, we do not like the Warriors very much, but their 73-9 season, it's still impressive to see a team break a record that was standing for so long and nobody thought would touch it. So, I mean, you see history as a sports fan, you love it, but at the same time, you don't have to love the team.
Yeah. Couple things for me. It was a sad year in the world of sports too, losing Muhammad Ali, more recently Craig Sager, the colorful commentator, and then losing Jose Fernandez far too young was just outside of my top 5, but obviously bringing that up, but losing the greatest of all time, and then losing Jose Fernandez, Craig Sager, and many more, but just to name a few.
Yeah, I had the dunk contest. I think we saw one of the most impressive dunk contests since Vince Carter. I think Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, 2 young stars in the NBA, just putting on a show in the dunk contest, and it was a fun sports thing to watch that you don't necessarily see a lot. So it was good to see these guys.
You know what helps that is Zach LaVine, especially after the dunk contest, he's starting to mold his own role in that Timberwolves offense. He scored he had a 40-point game the other day. So having those two guys, obviously great dunkers, having them develop into really good NBA players is going to help just as much, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I do have one more honorable mention, and it's something we don't talk about, just like you said, soccer.
We can talk about hockey.
Nope. I am going UFC, and Conor McGregor getting his first loss, but then coming right back and getting his a rematch and winning it. And I think anybody, even you don't even have to watch UFC, but you know the name Conor McGregor, and people want to watch him fight because how electric he is and how showboat he is. He brings something different to the game of UFC or fighting of UFC, and it brings a whole new aspect and showmanship to UFC and everybody, all the fans, and not even necessarily fans, just people who want to watch him fight. He has changed that brand so much, single-handedly.
Be a casual fan.
Yeah, he really does. He single-handedly changed that sport.
I mean, you're gonna bring up Conor. You go to the women's side, and you look at Ronda Rousey with how hot she was, both in terms of her fighting and but her taking 2 L's was a rough year for rowdy Ronda Rousey.
It definitely was, but I mean, you look back at it, she had a great career. We don't know if she'll ever fight again, but again, crazy year in sports. We didn't even name like half the stuff that went on. So, I mean, if you guys agree with our top 5, comment back. Who do you like better, mine or Matt's? I think most people agree with this guy right here. Yeah, I think they will. Like this for me, the real winner, or retweet it if you like Matt, I guess.
But yeah, this is like share this if you love Jesus, or scroll if you love Satan.
Hello. Share it if you love me.
Otherwise, tweet back at us with your own hashtag top 5 moments. We'd love to hear back from you. But moving on, what do you think, Brock? Top player, MVP?
Let's go top play, because MVP.
Top play?
I think MVP will leave to last.
All right. Top play for me was an easy one.
I think it was. I think it was.
What do you got?
No, you go. I started the first top 5. You guys start top play.
All right. For me, the top play of the year was sort of part of one of my honorable mentions. The tragic passing of Jose Fernandez. I believe it was their first home game after his friend, his teammate, wearing his number. D. Gordon hits his first home run of the season, a career-long home run, no doubter. Crying as he's rounding the bases and getting chills just talking about it. But D. Gordon's home run to honor his friend and teammate who passed is my top play of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that one's hard to disagree with, but I am. But I actually watched that at bat live and watched him round the bases, and the whole team, the whole stadium, just erupting. And it was a special moment to watch it. I mean, again, just one sports moment that everyone will know where they were at during that, and it's tough to watch, but it was also very uplifting to watch, to see that team all come together wearing Jose Fernandez's number and just playing and seeing all these special plays from not just D. Gordon, but the whole team made a bunch of plays. I think they scored 4 runs in that first inning, which was it was amazing atmosphere. I was just watching it from TV.
Absolutely. I have a feeling. I have a feeling you're going with the block or the shot. Am I right?
You are right. I am definitely going with the king himself, the block out of nowhere. Championship game. I mean, you couldn't ask for one of the superstar of your team to make a play. He needs to make a play, and that he put his stamp on the game with that pin block of Andre Iguodala. It was one of the most amazing things. Like, I don't know if you got to watch it live.
I did.
I definitely watched it live, and I straight up, my jaw hit the floor. I think everybody who...
I think I lost my voice because of that play, actually.
I was so in shock. It was in the last, minute and a half to play. He comes out of nowhere and just swats that thing. Oh, my.
I was thinking about this earlier. It's probably the biggest block in the NBA since Tayshaun Prince blocked Reggie Miller back when the Pistons heyday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's that caliber of player, and everyone ripping on him for all of this and all of that. And Game 7, crunch time, he made a play. Then Kyrie. I mean, we all know what happened after that. But I think that last 2 minutes of basketball was some of the most impressive basketball I've ever seen LeBron and company play. Oh, over his last, what is it, 6 straight finals?
Yep. You know what happens if he doesn't block that shot? The Cavs don't get to troll the Warriors with their locker room wallpaper.
That is true. That was one of the funnier things I've seen.
That was some high quality trolling, if I say so myself.
You do say so yourself.
That's right. All right. We got top play out of the way. Best team.
I guess I'll go first on this one. I mean, you could even do it from January till December. This team has probably been the most dominant team we collectively as sports fans have seen in the last few. You could say they were the best team for the last 3 or 4 years. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Ooh, good one.
I do not know how they do it. Not a fan of Alabama at all. But they, year in and year out, Nick Saban has that team performing a top tier level. Some people want to see them take on the Browns. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Browns.
People like to complain, or when people say, like you said, I don't know how they do it. People like to say, well, they recruit and they get all these number one guys. Well, yeah, they get the number one guys, but if you don't coach them, it's not like basketball. Yeah. You can't just push them in. I mean, you look at John Calipari. John Calipari is probably the Nick Saban in terms of recruiting in college basketball. Definitely. Recruiting doesn't lead to national titles.
No.
Coaching does.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Nick Saban. How many freshmen second-year guys have gone? You really look at it, not too many. They at least play 3 years. You see a lot of juniors, or especially their quarterback plays, stay till seniors. And one thing I do like about Nick Saban as a coach, he does not let his freshmen, no matter how great they are, will not speak to the media. I love it. I think that's a great idea, especially for this day and age of sports. Do not let your young guys talk to the media, because that can get to their head. They already see it all on TV. They're new to the campus. They're 18, 19, 20 years old. Everything's just flying in. And I think that's one of the best coaching moves, I would say, I have ever seen. Is don't let these young kids, they're kids still, talk to this media that can just tear them a new one and mix and match their words and make them sound like something they're not. And then they get all this stuff in their head, and he just lets them play. They let their play on the field talk, and clearly number one team the last how many years?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna disagree on this one a little bit. I mean, I just went with something a little bit out of the box, but if I'm going with a traditional football, baseball, basketball, absolutely agree. There is no more dominant team in all of sports than the Alabama Crimson Tide. However,
there's one team, but go on.
I am going back to the Olympics. The U.S. women's gymnastics team. Mentioned them earlier, but you have Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, who absolutely killed it in all stages of competition. Allie Raisman, and then the other two who nobody knows, Lori Hernandez and Madison Koshin. So probably the most to gain out of any team. No, it's not necessarily team sports, but they do have the all-around team. So representing their countries in the biggest stage in the world, I had to go with the women's gymnastics team at the Olympics. They showed up, showed out, brought home gold.
Definitely. I mean, sticking with the Olympics, I mean, definitely they were one of the best teams. I mean, you look at the teams, you could also say United States basketball, United States women's basketball, all of it. The one team,
the women's Connecticut Huskies.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say you could argue that the Yukon Huskies women's basketball has been the most dominant team in sports since Gino Auriemma took over. They have been impressive. They show no mercy. This year they might lose a game, but maybe we'll see. They came close already. Their first 2 games were nail biters, but then they'll just take off from there and win another national championship or something.
All right, we got one category remaining. MVP. Now, I know you're going to tell me I need to pick one, but I couldn't pick just one. I have co-MVPs, Brock.
Is it just 2?
Yeah, I can narrow it down to 2.
Okay, narrow it down to 2.
Okay. Narrow it down to 2. My co-MVPs, LeBron James for everything he did in the finals, and Kris Bryant from the Cubs. The best player on the best team for both of these guys. The best player on the best teams in all of the world, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Best players in the world at what they do. My honorable mentions, again, Simone Biles, and again, not soccer people, but Cristiano Ronaldo was a distant or close fourth place runner-up.
You don't want to just mention Lionel Messi?
No, I'm just Cristiano.
All right, yeah. I mean, he said his name, LeBron. LeBron, not just what he does on the court, what he does off the court, and for his team. In all of sports,
for
Cleveland. He is just the biggest name in sports. Everyone knows LeBron, except my girlfriend. She thinks it's Shaq.
I think one of the few basketball players Ashley knows is Shaq, but she doesn't know him from basketball. Is that guy from Grown Ups? Yes, that's the guy from Grown Ups.
Hey, classic movie.
That's right.
I mean, you can't not. I don't disagree with you with Kris Bryant because all the thing he's done, not just this year. I mean, he was Rookie of the Year last year. All these other accolades he has is just amazing in his short career. As fans of the sport, you want him to stay with Chicago. You don't want him to be like, oh, I want more money, so let's go to New York. Yeah. You want to see him in the Chicago Cubs uniform for all of his career. I think that speaks to all Cubs fans. I think they don't want to see him go. I think that's him and Brizzo. I think that those are 2 fan favorites over there in Chicago.
Got a quick update for you. There's also one other sports player Ashley knows. Just got the breaking text. That Matthews guy. We played Madden together, and she knows him by just the long blonde flowing flocks. So anytime there's a long-haired football player, that's the guy I played. Yes, you did. So
Clay Matthews.
Yes.
Good pick.
Proudly representing.
That's a good pick. Good pick.
All right, so we got a couple things left, Brock. Do we want to do our what if sports game of the week?
Let's do it.
We'll have a preview of tonight's game: Packers-Lions.
Packers-Lions. Packers win.
Think so?
Yeah, I actually do. I think our offense, like we've seen the last few weeks, have been outstanding. We put up big points against them the first time around and gave up some garbage time touchdowns and all that to make it look a little more respectable. But I think this time around we'll just put pedal to the metal and and we'll take them out.
Packers win 24-23. Green Bay gets off to an early 14-0 lead, and then Detroit stomps back. Aaron Rodgers finishes 14 of 20, 176 yards. I will say if Aaron Rodgers finishes 14 of 20 for 176 yards, the Packers, I mean, Ty Montgomery has been stepping up, but I'd be nervous if Aaron Rodgers finished with that stat line.
I'd be nervous if he doesn't have 20 pass attempts in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if he's only got 20 pass attempts, they're probably up big and they're running the ball. You know how Mike McCarthy likes to get conservative. Yeah,
true. I mean, if Christian Michael breaks off big runs and Ty Montgomery is running well, I mean, so be it. If we have 250 rushing yards and Aaron only has 176 passing yards, so be it.
Absolutely.
I just did get an update on my phone. Randall Cobb is out. He is inactive tonight. All signs were pointing at him playing this week, but he is out.
Okay. What else? Let's get an update. The Redskins game. 13-10. Giants leading the Redskins at the 2-minute warning.
Oh boy!
So it's going to be a big game. Big
Tampa is hoping for a field goal, and field goal and just tie out.
Yep.
And then all they need is Packers to lose. Could you imagine if they actually get that? Would be the biggest.
That would be on the top 10 moments of 2017.
It would have to be. But did they needed Indy to win.
Yep.
But Indy lost, correct? No, Indy won.
Indy won. They needed the Texans to lose, I believe. I don't know why the Texans would have done anything.
The strength of the schedule against opponent.
Yeah.
They play against each other.
Yep. So it was Packers take care of business. Redskins lose. We're good. Trivia. I've been biting at the bits for the last 45 minutes or so. I had my year written down.
All right, we'll do a little recap of what the question was. The Green Bay Packers were founded in the editorial room of the Green Bay Press-Gazette. The meeting was called by Curly Lambeau and George Calhoun. In what year was the great American franchise formed? A, 1909, B, 1919, C, 1920, or D, 1921? Matt, what was your pick?
1921.
No, you are incorrect.
Ah! I had 1921 picked out on the top of my head before I even heard the multiple choice, and I'm wrong.
At least you went with your gut. Correct answer is B, 1919. Close.
Darn it all.
Close, but no scar, Mr. Matt. 0 for 1. We'll keep this going. I mean, we have also, once baseball starts picking up, we have the Milwaukee Brewers trivia.
I got one last thing. Hashtag NBA vote Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hashtag NBA vote Jabari Parker. Two young bucks who deserve and need to be in the All-Star.
That was play on words. 2 young bucks.
Boom, boom. That's what I do. A couple other things, I guess. Since we're talking, just hitting on the NBA a little bit, let me ask you this. Which is more impressive from the other night? James Harden's absolutely insane 50, 15, 15 triple-double, or Russ getting his in a half?
I know I tweeted it out, and I tweeted both of them out. Russ got topped by Harden. I think Harden's 50, 15, and 15 plus. You just don't see that. I mean, Russ, he did have a triple-double at a half, and that's impressive in itself. But I just can't I just can't get past the 50, 15, and 15. That's video game numbers. I mean, both of them put up video game numbers, shit. But I would have to say Mr. James Harden victorious in that battle.
Breaking news. Kirk Cousins intercepted by Dominique Rodgers. Cromartie. Believe the Giants are going to be able to run out the clock. The Packers are going to be playing
in the playoffs.
They're going to win tonight. They're going to stay hot. They're going to get through the playoffs. Going to get to the Super Bowl.
Quick question, though. Would you rather have them be road warriors like we were in 2010 or have one home game?
I'd rather see them have one home game.
I mean, as would I, but I mean, if we're going to write the whole fairy tale, it's the same exact thing that happened in 2010. If it happens, I would love to see it, but I would definitely would not be against a home game against what is going to be the Detroit Lions again.
Is it?
If I'm correct. I think if Seattle
3 seed, which means they will play.
If Seattle loses, I think they're the 3 seed.
I think they have the 3 seed regardless.
Do they?
No, they'll be the 4 seed. You're right. They'll have the 4 seed regardless. If Seattle wins, they have the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
If we win and Seattle loses, which they will have.
It was a 19-14 game last I saw.
25-23, 5 minutes left. They are up. So Seattle wins. They have the 3 seed. The Packers would have the 4 seed. The Packers would play the Giants.
Ooh.
So Packers either play the Giants or the Lions if they win the division. If they don't, they play either the Seahawks or the Lions, depending on the outcome of tonight's games.
I would love to see it. And I think we saw earlier, Cowboys lost to the Eagles without most of their starters playing, but I mean, it's still playing time that we see. I think their defense was mostly all starters, so I mean, so you see a few weaknesses. I think if we happen to come across them, I think they can't cover the tight end very well. So I mean, I guess we'll have to talk about that next week.
Absolutely.
And after we see this game and maybe a handful of next week's games.
Absolutely. Other than that, Brock, I know we'll be tweeting along throughout the game.
Definitely.
Other than that, as always, nice talking to you.
Good to see you.
Catch you on the flip side.
Happy